What up? What up? Welcome in everybody to another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we always start the show by being transparent. And yesterday I had three bets. The Miami Heat was, I don't even know why I took that pick. It was absolutely terrible. Yeah, Kyle, I'll give you credit. You had the other side.
I got my belt back.
My other two plays were winners. Mavs first quarter, Mavs full game. Full game was the 5%. So a great day for me. Kyle, I know you went on Boston. How'd you do on the rest of the slate?
I just had two picks, full units. Boston -14, Dallas -3. So 2-0 for me.
Nice. And Veno, it's nice to have you here. It's the first time with us three on my channel, at least. It looks like, I mean, we're joking off camera. You know, you're a little bit far away. It looks like Dolphins Aqua. Is that Dolphins Aqua?
And yeah, that Boofer spreadsheet read it wrong today. Yeah, let's get back to last night, because last night I only played the one game, but it was good on both angles. Celtics team total, first half over, full game over. When you put up 70 in the first half, it makes life easy, but they did what they were supposed to do finally. Although I will say this, Skee, and I know it was a blowout, but 5 straight miserable fourth quarter point production out of the Celtics. I mean, 20 last night again. And thank goodness they had so many 98 after 3. It didn't matter. But
they were up 150 points, Rob.
Their fourth quarters overall, Kyle, were brutal in every game.
They were up 190 points at the time.
I know.
I'm looking, and I still do not see a winner. And there's a lot of guesses. People showed up early. All these guesses I put up on the screen so far were before 10:30. So people are showing up, and we still don't have a winner. So
tricking them today, Skee. We're tricking them.
I'll ask you this really quick while I continue to look, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Are you nervous? I mean, we're going to break the game down, but are you nervous about the Knicks after blowing that lead? Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, right. I mean, I got the Sixers tonight.
Somebody asked me about it. Oh, you got the... All right, we got to talk about it. Let's get to it. I'm trying to find a winner. I'm trying to give this money away. Does anybody have the right color? Let me just scan through here. I don't see it.
I mean, someone just said teal for Veno, but I'm assuming they just said that now, which is like...
That's not the right color.
What color is that? I mean, what box of Crayola crayons are we talking about? The 64?
No, we give them a list, Kyle. We gave them a list. It's all identified. This one falls under Dolphins Aqua.
Dolphins Aqua. I can't believe no one's guessed Dolphins Aqua.
No, but it's not. They could just read it. List is the thing, and sometimes they guess brown, and brown isn't even on the list.
Dolphins Aqua.
All right, I started the show at 10:41, so it's 10:40 right there.
Let's talk. Winner. I'll send you more money. We'll triple up tomorrow for whoever wins.
All right, we'll have a triple up tomorrow. So $75 to the winner who guesses Rob Veno's shirt color tomorrow. And if you remember, go and take a look at the list. We got all the shirt colors listed.
It ain't
so
hard.
We can give it out. And when we triple up or double up, a member is going to win. So members, make sure you're in here bright and early tomorrow. All right, let's get to it. We got 2 games. First one we've already kind of mentioned a little bit, Knicks and Sixers. Sixers open -3.5. They're now -3. Total hasn't done too. Actually, I think it came down to 200, and then now it's going back up. Looks like 201.5. I mean, I thought this series was over. It should have been over. They're up like 6 points with 30 seconds left, something like that. And they found a way to lose that game. It could be maybe demoralizing a little bit. It could give the other team, a little bit of momentum, especially coming back home. And it sounds like that's the way you're thinking here, Kyle.
Yeah, I did bet Philly, but it's not for that reason. I don't think this Knicks team would be demoralized. They're up 3-2 and still in a good position. And I wouldn't question the team's, I guess, stability is how I say it. They have a lot of confidence, and they think they're one of the best teams in the East. And that's not what I question for the Knicks. But yeah, I bet the Knicks in game 1. -3.5 and hit that. I've done well in this series. I'm 4-1 against the spread in this series, and I bet the Sixers every single game since game 2. So I bet the Knicks and then the Sixers every single time. And my overall thoughts on this series is very simple. Philadelphia's been the better team. I mean, the Knicks are up 3-2, but I mean, if you really look at how this game has gone, there's only been one game this entire series where one team was definitively better than the other team, and that was game 3 in Philadelphia. The Sixers were definitively better than the Knicks in that game. The other 4 games are all coin flips, and the Knicks happen to win 3 of the coin flips. So here we are in game 6, back at home in Philly. This is Embiid night, man. Joel Embiid coming off back-to-back bad games. This is a guy who historically plays really well against the Knicks. Coming from a Knicks fan, we really struggle against this guy. He's coming off back-to-back bad games. Everyone's talking about Tyrese Maxey right now because he went off in game 5. This is Embiid night. So if you like Embiid, if you're player props, Embiid overs, I expect Joel Embiid to have a big game tonight, and I expect Philadelphia to be the better team like they have for most of this season, most of this series, and win and cover this. I could see Philadelphia with a comfortable win. I hope I'm wrong, but don't worry, New York, because we're going back. Game 7 belongs to New York. That's game 7 is when the hearts come out, and we're gonna take theirs in game 7.
Veno, you're in that area. How are you feeling about it?
The way I feel and the way the fan base and the media feels are always totally different because they change, not hour to hour in this town, minute to minute in this town, right? The other day it was get rid of Embiid, F the process. It never worked. He's always hurt. Maxey's our guy. And then they win a game and everything changes. Couple of things here, guys. I worry a little bit about Jalen Brunson just taking over the offense entirely at this point. What I saw in overtime the other night, not really even looking for anybody else but himself. He's taken 148 shots in 5 games. That's 29.6, almost 30 a game. I don't know if you can win with one man in Philadelphia here tonight. When Philly came back home from the first 2 in New York, they won by 11 and played a pretty solid game in game 3. To Kyle's point, when you go through this series statistically, you listen to the narratives and you would think the Knicks should have destroyed this team in 5, or they were destroying this team in 5 games. But the statistics tell you a totally different story, that Philly has been better in a ton of categories. The one category I could find where the Knicks have a substantial edge was points in the paint. Points in the paint, Knicks last 3 games, or games 2, 3, 4, 138 to 90. Plus 48. The last 4 games, the only time Philadelphia won points in the paint was game 1. But since then, it's the Knicks by 12.5 per. So I think Philadelphia with a new lease on life here. And I'll tell you what, if you live in this town, these people believe that Philadelphia honestly should be up 3-2 at this point because they think they got screwed in game 2 with this NBA 2-minute report, which actually comes out and says that Tyrese Maxey traveled on the 4-point play now. So the 2-point report being what it is. Let's add to this, guys, the conspiracy theory, right? I mean, doesn't the NBA want a game 7 in this series? It may not be as important as it would in the other. Skee, Scott Foster's the referee here. What's he famous for? Setting up game 7s. Game 7, if everybody clinches tonight, right? If Indiana clinches, if New York clinches, the lone game on Saturday is Denver, Minnesota, and there's nothing on Sunday, except maybe Orlando, Cleveland if they go 7. So if you're a conspiracy theorist, which I am not, but I always like to bring this to the forefront, 7:30 at night on Saturday night, right behind the Kentucky Derby, right in front of Denver, Minnesota. Embiid, Maxey, the New York, Philadelphia television markets are the biggest markets. So if David Stern were still the commissioner of the NBA, I'd put way more stock into this than I do at this point in time, because I don't think that your new commissioner is that way. But people are going to bring that up. I like Philly in the game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring slugfest. I think this one gets defensive, and Philadelphia shows a little bit of heart at home tonight.
So everybody on the Sixers, huh?
I want to make it clear that I am not on the Sixers because of a conspiracy theory. Just want to slam that home. That is not the reason for the bet.
Well, I'll say this. Kyle, maybe the Knicks are not demoralized. Like you said, they're still up in this series. I think teams up 3-2 win about 82% of the time for the series. It is going to be harder to go into Philadelphia and close them out, though. But there's a couple ways I feel about it. You said this is Embiid night, and I heard Shaq say something like, he thinks the same thing because, when he was playing, somebody would, lift him up or win the game for him. he wants to come back and return the favor. And he's saying that Embiid is going to do that tonight for Maxey. So I can understand maybe a play on Embiid points for that reason. But my thought process is, I mean, if anybody's the most beat up, it has to be Embiid. He did not look good. So it's hard for me to bet the Sixers. It's hard for me to think that they can win. The Knicks, I feel like as long as they play team ball, don't get on that one-man show, they're capable of winning this game. So I'll lean with the Knicks, but for my actual wager on this game, I already have a Knicks series ticket, so I don't need to really bet this game. For this one, I'll bet the over. And I don't feel like there's going to be a whole lot of defense. I looked up in the query, first round game 6s after an overtime game, every single one has gone over. This being an elimination game as well, if Philly is down, they're going to foul. They're not going to give up. They're going to continue to foul and add more points to this one at the end. So I just thought totals, getting close to 200, I feel like it's a little bit too low. I like the over. Any last thoughts on that?
The low total kind of scares me off the over because I agree. I actually think this game looks very similar to game 3, which would have gone way over this total. But this total all the way down to 200.5 kind of scares me. I don't really know where that number is coming from. So I guess maybe it's based off of what we saw in the game 4 game. But the game 4 game, there was terrible shooting in that game. The Knicks shot like 24% from 3. Embiid and Maxey combined to go like 15 of 42 or something. And so that one stayed under this total, but I feel like this total, I agree that this number is low. It's almost suspiciously low where I don't want to play it, but I would agree with you over.
And Rob, it's very hard for you to get there with an under, but I heard you say you expect this one to be lower scoring, so you disagree, right?
Yeah, and I'm not going to bet it, Skee, but it's the way I would lean because you're in game 6 now of a fairly physical series with guys who had 1 day's worth of rest after playing 50 minutes worth of basketball. I mean, you look at the Knicks, Anunoby, 50 minutes, Josh Hart, 53 minutes, Jalen Brunson, 51 minutes, Tyrese Maxey, 52 minutes, Embiid, 48 minutes, Tobias, 49 minutes. And at some point, fatigue sets in these games, and maybe shooters' legs go. I know they had a day off, but that's not a lot when you hit game 6 in a series like this. So because of my propensity to play overs and dislike for playing unders, I can't even bring myself to play the under, but I do think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring because at some point the grind sets in and now they're both playing for their lives. So maybe a little more defensive. I would be more inclined to think over in the other game we're going to talk about than I would this one.
Fair enough. I'll answer this question really quick. Munoz says, what's the average point scored in those games? The average total was 196. The average point scored was 216.9. So
way over.
way over what we're looking at today. So I'll bet the over for my wager in that one. We'll move it over to the next game, and I should have updated this. Open -9 for Indiana. Now down to 6. Total up 1.5 to 217. And let me just refresh here because I saw both Giannis and Dame could potentially return tonight. And they were able to get the job done without him. So I'll come right back here to you, Kyle, and I'll ask you, can the Pacers, I mean, I questioned them as a young team closing out on the road. Now they're back at home. They should feel more comfortable. But if the guys come back, do you trust them to close it out?
No, not at all. And I was just completely wrong with my view of the way I was looking at this series. Now I'm 2-3 in this series, so it's not like I'm getting completely crushed or anything. But the way I saw the series going was just way off. I kept repeating over and over again how the Pacers play good defense on the perimeter against the 3-point shot, and they struggle on the interior. So without Giannis, what is the Bucks offense going to do? That's what I kept saying, right? I mean, I did win a couple bets in there, but not one of those handicaps was correct. The Bucks have had no problem scoring. In fact, since the postseason started, amongst the 20 NBA teams that have played postseason games, the Bucks are 5th in offensive efficiency. They're having no problem scoring with Giannis, without Giannis, without Lillard. In game 4 and 5, without Giannis and Lillard, they shot 51% and 52.4% from the floor. One of the most efficient offensive teams in the playoffs so far. Doesn't even matter if those guys are on the court. So my take that the Bucks would struggle to score without Giannis on the floor is just, I'm just looking like an idiot, because that's just hasn't been the case at all. These veterans are stepping up, these guys with playoff experience, and they're having no problem scoring on what is definitely looking like a questionable Pacers defense. Now, I'm on Milwaukee here. I actually think they win. Last night I uploaded a video saying I'm taking Bucks plus 8.5, and if we get Giannis and Lillard, it'll be a bonus. So that's looking like a really nice take at the time. I mean, as of right now, we'll see how it happens, but that's what I uploaded last night. Basically, this Bucks team, and I know, Skee, you're one of them. You're not a Doc Rivers guy, right?
Glenn.
Yeah, okay, Glenn. Well, we got to give Glenn some credit, because Pacers in the regular season averaged over 102 possessions per game. Bucks are holding them to 92 possessions per game. This is a team that was 4th in both points in transition and points off turnovers in the NBA. The Bucks are holding them to one of the worst teams in the playoffs in those two departments. So Glenn, Doc, whatever you want to call them, maybe some of the credit belongs to him, some of the credit belongs to the veterans on the Bucks, but they have taken the Pacers' ability away to be the Pacers. You can look at Halliburton's numbers; they reflect that, even though he's also dealing with back spasms, which might also be part of that as well. But the Bucks are not letting the Pacers be the Pacers, and there's just basically what we've seen in this series. I don't see any evidence of why we should lay a big number with either team. Yeah, we saw the Pacers beat up on the Bucks one game, but they shot over 50. They shot 52% from three. The Pacers aren't going to hit threes like that on a night in and night out basis. So, yeah, I'm Bucks plus the points. If Giannis and Dame don't play, hopefully I get it back up 8.5, 9. I wouldn't bet it right now though with the limbo, because the report said they're trying to play. The hell does that even mean? Like, oh, Lillard and Giannis are trying to play, and everyone's like, oh, let's go bet the Bucks. Like, what do you mean they weren't trying to play an hour ago? Like, that doesn't let me know if they're playing. How about that? Like, oh, they're trying to play. Well, shit, I hope so. They're being paid a lot of money. I don't know. I didn't take much stock in the Giannis and Lillard are trying to play. I don't even know what the hell that means. So I like the Bucks to win this game, but as far as betting it, I probably going to be something I do last minute when I see what's up with the injuries in the line.
And I can understand that it would make a big difference. This would be a game where I would definitely want to know who's in and who's out, and not trying to play.
They're trying to play. Oh, thanks for the report. How much you get paid to give me that report? They're trying to play. I could have told you that.
Were they never trying?
Yeah, what? They're trying to play. Wow, it's breaking news.
Veno, do you think they try hard enough to get out there? And do you like the Bucks in this game?
Well, I have closing line value too. Hopefully it doesn't end up in the garbage can, but mine is based on the total. I played it at 214. Immediately that news comes out, and what do the ambulance chasers do? They shoot it all the way to 217. So, and it makes you think right away, Skee, right? Giannis, does he come back and disrupt the offense? Does it flow the way it's been flowing? But I would call Giannis more of a totals negator. In other words, he does all his scoring from like 5 feet from the basket, transition dunks, bullying guys down, which Indiana's easy to bully down to the rim, and in the free throw line. It's not like he's a jump shooter who's coming off screens and could disrupt the flow. He kind of gets his points. I don't want to call it in a garbage type of way, but you know what I mean. They're close to the rim. It's not hard to reintegrate a guy like that. Dame's already played a couple of games. If he plays, he knows what's going on. But to Kyle's point, this team scored 115 and 113 without those guys. And so what we've known about Indiana all season long is they have one mode of operation, outscore the opponent, end of story. And in games 2 through 4, they did it. 125, 121, and 126. Now, the 121 comes with overtime. They had 110 at the end of regulation. But still, their assist to turnover ratio in this series, assist to field goal ratio is amazing. Of course, Tyrese Halliburton at the head of that, but they've had 3 games, guys, where they had 38 assists and 5 turnovers, 32 assists and 8 turnovers, 33 assists and 7 turnovers. Tyrese Halliburton still finds the right guy, and they still score on Milwaukee. And let's face it, we talked about it a lot this season. Milwaukee's not a good defensive team. And you take Giannis away from them, they're less of a defensive team. So I kind of view this way, Skee, and I think you hit on it really quick. Listen, game one, they walked in with jitters, inexperienced, never been there. They're on the road. They get their asses kicked. But they came back with 3 straight wins, scoring over 120 in all 3 games. And it looked like Pacer basketball to me, up and down the floor. Then they go and they get put in the situation, like you guys both said, closeout on the road. They don't know anything about closing out on the road. Get destroyed. Now come back home to the friendly confines, understanding a little bit about what closeout means. And I think they're going to get up and down the floor again. I'm just going to read you. You know I'm huge on quotes. Let me just give you what Tyrese Halliburton said before last game. Halliburton said, game one, I felt like they dictated tempo. I would say the story of the last 3 games, which were 2 through 4, they have. He's correct. In a world in a league that says, oh, you can't play fast in the playoffs, we don't really believe that. We're going to be who we are, put our identity and imprint on every game, which they didn't do in the first closeout attempt. They didn't resemble themselves. I think they probably do here. Milwaukee's still a team that wants to get out and push. And if we listen to Glenn talk after game 5, he comes out and tells us that part of their game plan was defensive board and go. What separated them from Indiana in that last game was Milwaukee's determination. You know, in New York, they call them cornered rats if you live in an apartment in New York. But that's basically the position they were in. And Patrick Beverley led the charge, right? I don't think they could put that type of defensive effort forth again. I think they like to run too much, which plays into Indiana's hands. So for me, 214 looked really, really light. And if Giannis plays, you know, to those who want to play it now at 217, I still wouldn't be scared because I don't think he's an offensive disruptor. Anything he's going to take away from Indiana defensively, if he can, he'll give back on the offensive end. If he were healthy, he'd give back even more. So I'd like over here, guys. I think it ends up that way. I don't think this will be a defensive battle at all.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Is there any, I mean, the first half is shaded. It's 111.5. And I feel like we've seen a couple of these games where they're scoring out the gate, but that second half kind of slows down a little bit. Do you worry about that? And could you maybe prefer first half or add the first half?
If I'm going to win, Skee, and the reason why I bet it this way is my eggs are all in one basket. My eggs are in the basket that says Indiana gets out and runs again and makes shots, really, because if you look really close at the statistics, it's not really that they didn't run. They did get slowed down somewhat, but they shot miserably, and they got forced into some longer possessions when Milwaukee was up big, and they turned it over a little bit. So first half, full game, I just think, and you made this point with the Knicks and Sixers, that at the end of this game, where this game is priced, the 6-point range is generally where you see free throws at the end of a game if the odds maker's right. And if we see free throws, it probably helps out too. So I'm more of a full game guy here, but I wouldn't argue off of first half.
All right, good stuff on that. Couple comments I wanted to point out. 2 comments actually. Matt Graley thinks Bucks belong in Galveston. Thinks they're done after tonight. And then number 2, you guys decide if you want to continue to call him Doc after this. Oh, you got something on that, Rob?
No, I just wonder, is that where humans who are done go to just die? Galveston,
I think he's talking about the Charles Barkley quote, right?
Okay. Yeah. I know he hates the women in San Antonio, but
yeah, he hates Galveston.
Galveston was
he hates Galveston. By the way, you guys looking for a sharp under tonight? Nats Rangers under 8. See if you can find an 8 at -110. Razor sharp.
Hey,
Okay.
All right.
Little baseball action. I'll get.
You know what? In advance, you're welcome for that.
Your fee is on the way, Kyle.
So the last comment I wanted to bring up here, you could decide if you want to continue to call him Doc after this. Boofer says, "Oh my God, he was given his nickname while attending a summer basketball camp at Marquette University while wearing a Dr. J shirt. He got the name because he wore a shirt."
I thought it was because he was like surgical or something. I don't know. Yeah. That's why he wore another dude's shirt.
He's Glenn on this channel until further notice.
Correct.
All right. Good job on the slate today. Funny comments coming in. Munoz lives in Texas. He says Galveston water his ass. All right. Best bet time.
Mets
moving
lead
on
off
over.
walk. Mets lead off walk.
Hey, Kyle's deep into this baseball.
Oh man, I got some money out right now. Got some open tickets.
Let's let you get to it. I'll ask you could use that play you just gave, but is there anything you would like to promote and maybe a best bet for the show?
No, nothing to promote. My two, I like both my baseball bets a lot tonight. The Nats Rangers under at 8. It's sharp, that pick. I don't need to go through it, but I like the under in Nats Rangers at 8. And also, I think it's a perfect buy low spot on Houston, the Astros. We've been auto fading the Astros and it's been successful. But that's all the way down to minus 130 now. Yeah, and on the mound, Logan Allen. The Astros have had the best lineup in baseball at home against lefties for years now. And the fact that they're even giving us minus 130 at home against a bad lefty, it's buy low. And I've been fading the Astros. It's buy low on the Astros tonight. So I got the under in Nats Rangers, and I played the Houston Astros.
Good stuff. And if you want to find more of Kyle on Twitter at Kyle Kirms, let's see if I'll take this off. At Kyle Kirms, his name just like that. And also does a show on YouTube. 1 p.m. or what time do you do it?
It depends on. Usually it's 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. But on Wednesdays and Thursdays we do in the mornings because there's day baseball. So it depends on the time of year, honestly. But usually 1 p.m. Pacific time is usually my spot.
All right, good stuff. Follow him on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, and he'll tweet it out when he's doing his shows. Veno, I'll kick it over to you and ask you if there's anything you would like to promote and maybe a best bet for the show.
Well, let's get with the promotion here for Wagertalk.com. Again, it's like a broken record every time I'm on your show, Skee. But for those who haven't yet become members at Wagertalk, go ahead and drop your email address at the website. Get free access immediately to all the video content, all the written content, free plays, etc., produced by Wagertalk's handicapping crew each and every day. You can find my work there. If you're interested in selection packages, mine are up and available each and every day. Wagertalk.com. For best bet for the show, Skee, I'll just go back to where we left off. I really like this total over. It's lost 3 points worth of value here, which is somewhat scary since I played it at 214. But again, I'll get real quick here into my potential points in this particular series. The average potential points here is 466. These teams have scored on average 48% of those. We'll go to math school here, Skee. 48% of 466 is 223. Yeah, 223, which is, and that's without, having Dame for a couple of games and without having Giannis at all. So I think mathematically it works out too, but I gave you all the fundamental reasons why I think it'll happen there. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to go ahead reading at the current price, Milwaukee, Indiana, up and over 217.
You make it sound good, Rob, and I'll stick with the first game. We'll go New York and Philly over, and it's going up a little bit here. Best number you can get right now. Well, I see a couple of 201s, and that is the number that I bet personally. So Knicks, Sixers over 201. That'll wrap it up for us. So Veno, Kyle, I appreciate you both joining the show. Chat, we appreciate you guys as well. Y'all are the best. Best of luck on all your action. Good luck if you tell. I will do another show at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with Dutch, Babano, and Wham Bam. So make sure you guys look out for that. Until then, peace.
Later.